Biology, Chapter 2 Tissues, Video number 1. Topics covered in this video are tissues and their importance, difference between plant and animal tissues, features and functions of meristematic tissues and the types of meristematic tissues, difference between meristematic tissues and permanent tissues, and difference between simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Students, in the first chapter you had learned that all living organisms are made up of cells, and on the basis of the number of cells they are made of, organisms can either be unicellular or multicellular. So, amoeba, paramecium and euglena are examples of unicellular organisms. Now, in case of unicellular organisms, what you find is that all the basic activities are performed by the same single cell. The reason is that the body of the organism is just one cell, and so all activities are performed by the same single cell. Activities in the sense that intake of food, then gaseous exchange or respiration, excretion, all these are performed by the same single cell. But this you don't find in case of multicellular organisms. In multicellular organisms, the body of an organism may be made up of millions of cells, as in case of us. Our body is made up of millions of cells, and here most of the cells, they are specialized to take up a specific function, right? And depending upon the function they have taken up, like all those cells which are performing a particular function, they group up or they cluster and form tissue. So, a group of cell having a common origin, similar or related structure that performs a particular function, that is what is called as a tissue. So, in our body you find that the cells of similar type organize to form tissue, tissues organize to form organs, and organs organize to form organ system, which organize and then forms an individual. So, you find that in case of multicellular organism, the body is well organized, and this increases the efficiency of a multicellular organism, right? And because of this organization of cells into tissues, you find that the cells perform a specific function. A particular cell will carry out only a particular function, and thus the efficiency of cell increases because the workload is reduced. And due to this organization, you find that in case of multicellular organism, the lifespan is longer. So, multicellular organisms have a longer lifespan when compared to that of unicellular organisms. So, here in our body there are different groups of or clusters which are called as tissues. Like for example, you have got the blood. Blood is a tissue whose work is to transport materials like respiratory gases, nutrients, waste materials, etc. from one part of the body to other part. Our body has got muscles, and the role of muscles, again muscle is a tissue, and as you can see in this diagram, the muscle, it is made up of clusters or group of muscle fibers. These are all muscle fibers. So, muscle fibers, they group up, form a muscle which is a tissue, and the role of a muscle is to bring about movement, and this is done with the contraction and relaxation of those muscle cells that makes up the muscle. Similarly, our body has got nervous tissue, and the nervous tissue is made up of neurons or the nerve cells, and the role of this nervous tissue is to transmit messages from one part to other part. So, a particular type of cell is specialized to do a particular function. Muscles to bring about movement, the blood cells, like if it is RBC, it is to transport oxygen, neurons or nerve cells to transmit messages from one part of the body to other part, and because of a particular function that they perform, you find that there is the workload is reduced, and so the efficiency of the cell increases. Not just in animals, you also find that the cells organize into tissues and organs, an organ system in case of plants also. So, xylem and phloem, xylem and phloem are the plant tissues. We will be discussing in detail about the other plant tissues also, but since you have learned this in your junior classes, xylem is a tissue which is made up of different types of cells which are having a common origin, and the function of xylem is to transport materials, that is water and minerals, from the roots to the upper parts of the body. Similarly, phloem transports food material. Food which is made in the leaves is transported to all the different parts of the plant body by means of phloem. So, xylem and phloem are the examples of plant tissues. So, tissues, if we have to define, we can define tissue as a group of cell having a common origin, similar or related structure which works together to achieve a particular function. And blood, phloem, muscles which I have discussed, these are all examples of tissues. I have said you that in case of multicellular organisms, the cells organize to form tissues, tissues organize to form organs and organ systems. Now let us know that why is the plant tissue different from that of the animal tissue. You know it quite well that plant tissues are not the same as that of animal tissues. So let us know what is the reason behind it. The first reason why there is a difference is that the plants are stationary. Means what? They remain at one place, fixed at one place. And as plants are stationary, that is, they remain fixed at one place, most of the tissues that are seen in plants, they are all supportive tissues, which is to make the plant stand erect, right? And these supportive tissues are mostly made up of dead cells. That means that the living tissues are quite less when compared to the dead cells or dead tissues which are present in the plant. As a result, the plants require less energy for maintenance. That is, less maintenance energy is required in case of plants. Animals, on the other hand, they are mobile or motile. They move from one place to other place for meeting their requirements. And as the animals are motile, most of the tissues that they have are living. And as the tissues are living, the energy that is required for maintenance is quite a lot when compared to that of plants. The other reason for the differences in the tissues is in terms of their growth. The plants grow throughout their life, and this is due to the presence of meristematic tissue. In case of plants, you find that they have meristematic tissues. You will be learning about this uh, in detail. So, they have got meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues are the tissues which are made up of continuously dividing cells, and because of this presence of meristematic tissues, the plants grow throughout their life, but the growth is confined only to certain areas. Reason is that those meristematic tissues are present only in certain areas. Animals, in case of animals, you find that the animals, they do not grow after reaching maturity. So, once they have reached maturity stage, they do not grow. And the reason is that in case of animals, you don't find any such kind of tissue, that is meristematic tissues which are found in the plants, they are not found in case of animals. And one more very important thing is that the growth in animal is not limited to certain areas. Rather, animals grow uniformly. So, growth is uniform in case of animals. The next reason for the difference you find is that in case of plants, the structural organization is very simple and it is towards leading a stationary habitat. So, this structural organization, you don't find much of organs and organ systems in case of plants. So, this shows that the organization is very simple and the organization is towards leading a stationary habit. Whereas in case of animals, the structural organization is very complex with the development of more specialized and localized organs and organ system. And this structural organization is targeted towards mobility, that is to lead a motile life, because animals, as I said you, they move from one place to another. So, this complex organization of animals will help them to lead a motile or mobile life. So, because of all these reasons, you find that the plant tissues are quite different from that of animal tissues. Let's now study about the types of plant tissues. So, based upon the dividing capacity of the plant tissues, that is whether the tissues are made up of continuously dividing cells or not, the plant tissues are classified into meristematic and permanent. So, this flow chart that you see, this shows the different types of plant tissues present in the body of the plant. The plant tissues are classified into meristematic and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues, based upon their location, can be either apical meristem, lateral meristem and intercalary meristem. In detail, we will be discussing about the same later on. Now, the permanent tissues are further classified into simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues will be the tissues which are made up of same kind of cell. All the cells will be of the same type. And these simple permanent tissues are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Whereas the complex tissues, you find that the complex tissues, they are made up of more than one type of cell, and so they are classified as phloem and xylem. So this flow chart shows the different types of plant tissues. Meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues are the plant tissues which are made up of undifferentiated, unspecialized cells which continuously divide and add new cells to the plant body, thus helping in growth of the plant. So meristematic tissues' main function is these tissues, they help in the growth of the plant, and this is possible because of the continuously dividing cells. In the meristematic tissues, all the cells, they continuously divide and form new cells. Remember one thing, that the new cells that are produced by the meristematic tissues will initially divide. So they will be behaving like meristematic cell, they will be dividing. But after some time, these cells which have divided, they will lose their ability to divide, and later they get differentiated. By taking up a permanent shape, size, structure and function, they get differentiated and become a part of permanent tissue. So in other words, you can say that the components of permanent tissues are actually derived from the meristematic tissues. Let's now study about the important features of the cells of meristematic tissue. The cells of meristematic tissues are unspecialized, undifferentiated. They are mostly isodimetric, and you find that the cells are compactly packed. So the cells that you see, they are tightly packed, and hence as they are tightly packed, you don't find any intercellular space present, right? Other thing that you find is that since the cells are continuously dividing, these meristematic tissues will be having a higher metabolic rate. They are highly metabolic, and as they are continuously dividing, and each of the cell will be having a single large prominent nucleus in the center. So the center of the cell is occupied by a large nucleus, prominent nucleus, and the vacuoles, they are generally absent. Even if they are present, vacuoles will be very small in size, right? Other thing that you see is that the cell wall of the meristematic tissue cells, it is extremely thin and is mainly made up of cellulose. All the cells of the meristematic tissues are living. So these are some of the important characteristic features of meristematic tissues. That is, the cells are small, they are usually cuboidal or maybe isodimetric, then the cells are having a very thin cell wall, then the nucleus is very large and prominent, vacuoles are generally absent, and next important thing is that the cells are so tightly packed that there is no intercellular space present between the cells, right? And other thing, as I said you, that they have got a very high metabolic rate. So these are the important characteristic features of meristematic tissue. Said you that the meristematic tissues are present only in certain specific locations in the plant body. So here is an activity to demonstrate or to study the location of meristematic tissue in the roots of onion. In this activity, we take two onion bulbs, okay, then you take two glass tumblers and fill them with water. You take a pair of scissors, right? So after this, what we do is we take the two glass tumblers and mark them as A and B, and then what you do is that the two onion bulbs that you have taken, that has to be placed over the two tumblers, ensuring that the bottom part of the onion bulb, that where the roots arise, that should be touching the water. right? Leave this setup for 2 to 3 days. So when you leave it the setup for 2 to 3 days, what you find is that the roots will grow. Okay, the roots grow and they grow longer. So just wait for 2 to 3 days or 4 days, and then after 4 days what you do is that from the tumbler A, okay, take out the bulb of tumbler A, and first both the bulbs have to be taken out. You just measure the length of the roots that have come out from the bottom part, and then what you do is, if suppose the roots are measuring 4 centimeters or so from both, you just measure it, and after that what you do is, from the bulb A you just remove, you have to just cut around 1 centimeter of the root has to be cut from the root of the bulb which is placed over tumbler A. So, you remove the bulb and measure the length, and then the length will be almost the same for both the bulbs because we started the activity at the same time, and then what you do is you remove 1 centimeter from the tip, you have to remove the root, and then again place the 2 bulbs over the water and then leave it for 2 to 3 days. So, after 2 to 3 days what you find is that the bulb which is placed over the tumbler B from where the root was not cut, that will keep on growing and will become longer. You can just measure and see the length also. This activity you can do at home also. Okay, so this will go on growing longer, but the bulb which was placed over the tumbler A from where you had cut around 1 centimeter of the root, there the growth will not occur further. If you had measured earlier as 4 centimeters of which you had taken out 1 centimeter, the length of these roots will still remain 3 centimeters, right? So this shows, and the reason for this is that when you have cut, like when you had cut the root tips from the bulb of which was placed over this tumbler A, when you had cut the root tips, you actually had removed the meristematic tissues. So this shows that the meristematic tissue, they are present at the root tip. Here this diagram that you see, this shows the location of meristematic tissue. This is a root, okay, and this part is the region, that is a root tip, which is the meristematic region. Okay, so when we had cut the root tip, we actually had removed the meristematic region, and so there was no growth observed in case of the bulb which was placed over tumbler A. Okay, so that's the activity to show that the meristematic tissues, they are present only in certain areas. So, based upon the location of the meristematic tissue, meristematic tissues are of 3 types. One is apical meristem, lateral meristem, which is also called as cambium, and intercalary meristem. The diagram that you see here, this diagram is that of a longitudinal section of the shoot showing the locations of different types of meristematic tissue. This is of shoot, and the location of different meristematic tissues are seen. Apical meristem. Apical meristem is found at the shoot tip, also at the root tip. Have a look at this particular diagram of the plant body. So here you find that apical meristem, it is present at the shoot tip and the root tip. Okay, so this is the location of root apical meristem, and this is the location of shoot apical meristem. The function of this apical meristem is to increase the length of shoot and root. The root is going to grow deeper and the shoot will grow taller and taller. So this is because of the meristematic tissues present. Okay, so that's about shoot apical meristem and root apical meristem. Now intercalary meristem. The intercalary meristem is present at the base of the leaves and the nodes. Okay, node is the, you just have a look at this diagram. The node is a region where the leaves arise. So at the base of the node and the base of the leaf, you find this intercalary meristem present. The function of intercalary meristem is to increase the length of internode. The gap between the two nodes is called as internode. So, the length of this internode increases as well as the size of the leaf increases. That's because of the intercalary meristem, right. So, in this diagram that you see is given in NCERT. So, here in this diagram, here is the shoot apical meristem, which is helping in increasing the length of the shoot, and here at the base of the internode and the base of the leaf, here you will have the leaf over here. So, at the base of the leaf you have intercalary meristem, which is helping in increasing the size of the leaf and the length of the internode, right. Then there is a third kind of meristematic tissue which is called as lateral meristem. Lateral meristem is also called as cambium, and this is present on either side of the stem. This is a longitudinal section when the stem is cut lengthwise, right. So, in this you find the lateral meristem is present on the side of the stem as well as on either side of the root. So, have a look at in this diagram. Here you have this lateral meristem present. So, in this cross section you can see as a red ring that you see, that is the lateral meristem. So, this lateral meristem will add up cells. The lateral meristem is going to add up cells on either side, inside as well as outside. So, as a result of this activity of lateral meristem, you find that the diameter of the stem as well as the diameter of the root increases, or in other words you can say that the apical meristem and the intercalary meristem will help in longitudinal growth of the plant, whereas the lateral meristem, because it is going to add cells transversely, this helps in increasing the diameter or the girth of the stem and the root. So, here this is a difference between the three types of meristematic tissue. Apical meristem present at the root tip and the shoot tip. This is responsible for growth of the root and the shoot. Intercalary meristem is present on the leaf base and at the base of the nodes. It is responsible for growth of the leaves as well as the increase in the length of the internode, and lateral meristem is present on either side of the stem and the root and is responsible for increasing the diameter or the girth of the stem. On the basis of the capacity of the plant tissues to divide, the plant tissues are of two types, or we can say that the plants are made up of two types of tissues. They are meristematic tissue, about which in detail I have discussed just now, and the permanent tissues. So, before I discuss about the permanent tissues in detail, let us differentiate between the two types of tissue. The meristematic tissues are made up of cells that continuously divide, whereas permanent tissues are made up of cells that have lost their ability to divide and have got differentiated to take a permanent shape, size, structure and function. Okay, that the meristematic tissues, they are made up of undifferentiated cells, and since the permanent tissue cells, they have a permanent shape, size, structure and function, they are all differentiated. The meristematic tissue cells are small and they are isodiametric, that is the cells will be equidistant from the center, whereas the permanent tissue cells, they are of variable shape and size. Now, since the meristematic tissue cells are compactly packed, there are no intercellular spaces present between the cell, whereas the intercellular spaces may or may not be present in case of permanent tissue cells. As you can see here, that these are all permanent tissues. So, you find that in case of some of the permanent tissues, there is space present between the cells. So, the intercellular spaces, that is spaces present between the cell, may be present, or in some of the permanent tissues they may be absent. The next difference that you find in case of permanent and meristematic tissue is that in case of meristematic tissue, the cells have got extremely thin cell wall. Cell wall is very thin and is mainly made up of cellulose. Okay, it is made up of cellulose. Whereas in case of permanent tissues, which are of various types, the cell wall may be thin or it may be thick. Okay, the cell wall may either be thin or thick. Thickness may be either uniform, as in case of parenchyma, and sclerenchyma you find that the thickness of the cell wall is uniform, whereas in case of a tissue called as collenchyma, the cell wall is not uniformly thick. Next, what you find is that in case of mesomatic tissue, the nucleus is large and prominent. The center of the cell is occupied by a large prominent nucleus, whereas in case of permanent tissues, you find that nucleus, if present, it is quite small and inconspicuous. Nucleus is very small, not very prominent. Okay. Now, mesomatic tissues are made up of living cells. All cells of mesomatic tissues are living, whereas in case of permanent cells, the cells may either be living or it may be dead. Okay. Now, coming to the functional difference, you find that in case of mesomatic tissues, the only function that the cell has, this tissue has, is it helps in the growth of the plant body. Whereas the permanent tissues, they are specialized for various functions. Functions can either be storage of food, it can be manufacturing of food, it can be providing structural support to the plant. So, there are many other functions about which in detail, or it can be even conduction of water, minerals, food, etc. So, these are the different differences between the meristematic and permanent. And one more difference, the vacuoles are generally absent in meristematic tissue, whereas vacuoles, if the cells are living, if permanent tissue is a living permanent tissue, then vacuoles may be present. They are generally present. There will be central large vacuole. Okay, in the cell you will find central large vacuole and nucleus towards the periphery. In case of mesomatic, you will find that the center will be occupied by a large nucleus, and so nucleus will be large and prominent, and vacuoles are generally absent. If they are present, the vacuoles will be quite small. So these are the differences between meristematic and permanent tissue. One more thing, meristematic tissues have got higher metabolic rate when compared to that of the permanent tissues. Okay. So now coming to the permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are the plant tissues made up of cells that have lost their ability to divide and have got differentiated to take up a permanent shape, size and function. Remember, I had told you that when the new cells are formed by the meristematic tissues, the cells will initially divide, but later on they will lose their ability to divide and they will get differentiated to take up a permanent shape, size and function and become a part of permanent tissue. Okay, so it's the permanent tissue, it's derived actually from the meristematic tissue, and the process by which the cell takes up a permanent shape, size, function and structure is what is called as differentiation. So, the newly formed cells of the mesmatic tissue, they undergo differentiation and that results in development of various types of permanent tissues, right. Now coming to the types of permanent tissues. The permanent tissues can be broadly divided into two types. They are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. The simple permanent tissues are those tissues which are made up of same type of cells. All the cells of the tissue will be of the same type, having a common origin, and all these cells will be performing the same function. Whereas complex permanent tissues are the tissues which are made up of different types of cells. Like for example, this is a diagram of the phloem. Okay, phloem is an example of a complex tissue, and you find that these phloem tissues are made up of, you will be learning in detail later on, it is made up of different types of cells, right. But these cells will be having a common origin and they work as a unit. Though the different components of phloem will be having different function, but together they work as a unit. Means some of the component of the phloem will be involved in conduction of food, One will be involved in providing strength, some will be involved in storage of food. But together they work as a unit. The simple permanent tissues are present in various parts of the plant body, whereas the complex permanent tissues are present only in the vascular region. That is, the xylem and the phloem, they are the complex permanent tissues, whereas parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are the types of simple permanent tissues. So here is this, these are the differences between simple and complex permanent tissue. The simple permanent tissues are made of similar type of cell, and these are made of different types of cells which have got the same origin but diverse function. The simple permanent tissues are found in every part of the plant body, whereas complex permanent tissues are found only in the vascular region. All the cells of the simple permanent tissue will perform the same function, whereas in case of complex permanent tissue, the different components will perform different function, but together they will work as a unit. Photosynthesis, storage of food, support are some of the important functions performed by simple permanent tissue, whereas the complex permanent tissues, the main function of it is conduction of food, water, minerals, and also they help in providing structural support to the plant body. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are the types of simple permanent tissues, whereas xylem and phloem are the types of complex permanent tissues. Basis of the video that you have watched, here are some questions, answers of which you have to write in your biology assignment copy. The first question is, what are tissues? Give examples. Why are plant tissues different from animal tissues? Differentiate between the three types of meristematic tissues. Differentiate between meristematic and permanent tissues. And what is the difference between simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue?